This recorded session is going to be done by myself, John Panarese, and Matt from TTJ.biz. We are going to go over some commanders, some keyboard shortcuts, and some general tips just to help you keep on learning your Mac. Let's join this session. Already in progress.
All right. Well, I would like to demonstrate a few things for you. I think we're going to take a look at the trackpad because so far we've been talking about voiceover keyboard commands. And some of you may be familiar with using your iPhone or iPad and using voiceover gestures. And it is entirely possible to use gestures to control most things on your Mac as well, using what is called Trackpad Commander. So if you have any of the MacBook systems, or if you have one of the Magic trackpads with your iMac or other desktop Mac, you can use many of the same voiceover gestures to control your Mac. Now, the important thing to do before you can use Trackpad Commander is to turn it on. And that is done by holding down the voiceover keys. Of course, we know what those are by this point, Control and Option or the caps lock key. We hold them down and then we place two fingers on the trackpad and rotate them to the right as if we were turning a dial. If you are a user of iPad OS or iOS, you will recognize this as the rotor gesture. And it is here as well. But when we hold down the voiceover keys, it allows us to turn the Trackpad Commander on. Likewise, two fingers rotated to the left while you hold down the VO keys will turn Trackpad Commander off. So if I do this now, you'll hear that it tells me
Trackpad Commander is already on.
And I'm good to go because I already have it on. We can simply swipe left and right with one finger to move through the various icons that we have. Now, as I have nothing on my desktop,
empty group, empty group, Kliph window.
I'll move over to messages.
Out.
And if I use a one finger swipe to the left or to the right, it's going to move through everything that's on the screen.
Contact update group. Kliph, Kliph, vertical splitter, third conversations collection. Search text field, press Control Option space to begin editing, search.
And I can tap two fingers on the trackpad to pause the speech. And I can go the other direction, move to the right with one finger.
Conversations collection selected. Kliph just did one.
Now, I paused that speech. One thing we have to learn right away is how to interact with the trackpad. So we know we can move left and right by swiping one finger to the left or to the right. We also know if we are an iOS user that we can double tap with one finger to activate whatever it is that we have currently under the voiceover cursor. That is the same. A one finger double tap activates the item. It'll click a button. It'll, whatever it is that you're doing. But how do you interact? And the answer is you do a two finger swipe to the right on the trackpad. This is actually an optional feature of iOS, though I don't use it and I've never seen any real benefit to using it, but you can enable it. But here it's necessary on the Mac. So I want to interact with this.
Search conversations collection. Selected. Kliph just did 1:10 p.m. You are currently on a collection. To interact with items in this group, press Control Option Shift down arrow.
Now, they don't tell you the trackpad gesture, but it is a two finger swipe to the right.
In conversations collection, selected. Kliph just did one.
Now I can navigate with one finger left and right through my conversations.
Jelly and Fred +141 Carson Wade Albrecht Jelly selected. Kliph.
And if I want to change the conversation that I'm on, I swipe to it.
Jelly and Fred, that is a great idea.
Then I double tap with one finger.
Selected Jelly and Fred, that is a great idea.
There we go. Now to stop interacting, two finger swipe to the left.
Out of conversations collection.
Now, when somebody's on a conversation,
Fred,
they can also VO spacebar to open up or select that conversation, right?
Yes.
Well, exactly. So the one finger double tap is equivalent to VO spacebar. That's right.
Okay,
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure that they were clear that they didn't have to do everything with the trackpad, that you can go back and forth to interchange with the gestures and commands that we're using here.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. You can go back and forth and use any combination of them as long as you have Trackpad Commander enabled. Now, there's a couple other useful Trackpad Commander gestures that we'll demonstrate for you. One of them is to open the menu bar in any app. You're going to do a 2-finger double tap near the very top of the trackpad.
Search. Menu bar, Apple. You are currently on a menu bar item.
And again, we can use the trackpad or the keyboard to navigate through the menu bar, just as we have already learned to do, arrows with the VO keys, or we can swipe right and left here.
Messages, file, edit, view.
Double tap.
You are currently on a menu bar item.
Double tap if we want to open one, and then
closing menu, search iMessage.
How did I do that? 2-finger scrub. For those who are familiar with iOS, you know the 2-finger scrub. You place 2 fingers on the trackpad and you scrub back and forth quickly. Some people say it's like you're making a Z. I've never seen a Z written out, but I just kind of envision sort of like you got a little spot on the table. You drop some jelly or something and you just use a little, a washcloth, and you just very small, very narrow field of movement there, just scrubbing that little spot away. And that is like your escape key that takes you back and exits out of whatever menu you happen to be in this case, the menu bar. So we had 2-finger tap near the top of the trackpad is 2-finger double tap, near the top of the trackpad is the menu bar. What is a 2-finger double tap near the bottom?
Dock. Mail 20 new items. Open 5 of 26.
It's your dock. 2-finger double tap near the bottom of the trackpad opens the dock. And again,
messages,
just Z scrub or 2-finger scrub out of that. We also have the 2 fingers on the right and 2 fingers on the left side of the trackpad. One of them, I believe, is the window chooser, and one is the application chooser. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't remember which one is which, so I'm just going to test it, but I'm not going to test it by trying it. I'm going to show you another feature. I'll use this as an excuse to show you something else that's really cool that you can do. We can enable keyboard help with the VOK.
Starting keyboard help. Type keys to hear their names. Hold down the voiceover keys while typing to hear voiceover commands. Press the escape key at the top left corner of the keyboard to stop help.
And not only can we demonstrate keyboard commands, but we can also try trackpad gestures. So let's do the 2-finger double tap near the right side of the trackpad and see what it says.
2-finger double tap right, open window chooser, brings up a list of currently open windows.
Okay, and so we would assume then that the left.
2-finger double tap left, open application chooser, brings up a list of currently opened applications.
And then anything else you do on the trackpad, just like with the keyboard.
Flick right, moves the voiceover cursor right. 2-finger flick right, start interacting with item, further inspection inside the item.
Here's
Allows
another
keyboard
one.
Control.
Here's another one. 3-finger swipe up and down. Your scrolling gesture, just like when you're on iOS.
3-finger flick up, scroll down 1 page, scrolls down by 1 page. 3-finger tap, speak current page and scroll area. 3-finger flick down, scroll up 1 page, scrolls up by 1 page. 3-finger flick right, scroll left 1 page, scrolls left by 1 page. 3-finger flick left, scroll right 1 page, scrolls right by 1 page.
Okay, let me...
Escape, stopping keyboard help.
So there were a few other ones that are useful, and they're the same as they are on iOS. 3-finger swipe up and down to move to the next, like to continually scroll. So in other words, you have a long website or a long document you want to scroll through. You can do that 3-finger swipe up to go further advance in the document or web page, and 3-finger swipe down to go back closer to the top. And on iOS, when you go to the left and to the right with 3 fingers, it actually changes the page. And there aren't too many situations right off the top of my head, but like if in Apple Books, for example, you can do that. You can use that 3-finger left and right scrolling or swiping gesture. And then the only other thing we'll do with the trackpad is we'll talk about the rotor, because just like with iPad and iPhone, you do have a rotor. And if you are not familiar, because I don't know whether this may already be covered in another session here, your keyboard command for the rotor on the Mac OS. So you have a few different ways you can do this, but
window spots menu, message iMessage, edit text, window spots.
Yeah, if you do a VO and the letter U, Control Option U, you bring up this menu of rotor options, and then you can VO right and VO left through what they are.
No items in misspelled menu. No items in mentions menu, heading menu. No items in window spots menu. No items in heading menu.
Now, I'm not in a very good place to demonstrate the rotor because we don't have any of those things. We don't have headings. We don't have misspelled words right now. But you can see that it's taking me through the different options. And then I can
No items in heading menu. No items in heading menu.
That is me trying to go VO up and VO down to navigate by heading, which again, I don't have any, but you get the point. So how do we do this with the trackpad? That is our just 2-finger rotation to the left and to the right. So let me escape.
Message iMessage. Edit.
And we'll just use the rotor with our 2 fingers here on the trackpad.
Navigation. Characters. Words. Window spots. Misspelled. Mentions. Heading. Navigation. Messages. Collection.
We're going to use a 1-finger swipe up and down when we set the rotor to whatever we want to navigate by whatever we've selected. So in other words, if you select headings and you swipe up and down with 1 finger, you will hear each heading. Swiping down with 1 finger takes you to the next heading. Swiping up with 1 finger takes you to the previous heading. And the only one I could really see benefiting us in this app is navigation.
Heading. Navigation. Message iMessage. Edit text. Record audio button. Record audio button. Message iMessage. Messages. Collection.
Yep. So that's kind of like your vertical navigation on iOS. If you're familiar with that, it's taking you directly to the item directly above or below whatever you have, whatever is currently selected. So that's an overview of the trackpad. Anything else, gentlemen, that we want to say about that?
Well, just that you can customize it if you get more, comfortable with using it. And you have a little bit more flexibility on the Mac side because you can include a modifier. So in other words, you can set it up so that if you hold down the command key and you do a 1-finger flick to the right, or you do a 2-finger flick to the left, you can actually add additional functionality with, different voiceover commands, depending on what your need is. So like, for example, if you're a big web person and you set a lot of web spots on a web page, there is no gesture for, by default, unless you turn the rotor for web spots, but you could create one for yourself. So if you hold down the command key and you flick to the right with 1 finger, it goes to the next web spot, or goes to the previous if you flick to the left. So you could set that up as well.
So those who are more comfortable with this as you become more comfortable with it, if you want to set up custom trackpad gestures, you can do that in your in the voiceover utility, John?
Yes, yeah, under trackpad, and there's a button for customizing the gestures. You can't you can't change the ones that Apple gives you by default. So you'll notice that they're grayed out, meaning that you can't decide, I want to change, the 2-finger swipe to the right to something else. You can't do that. But you
and that's only true with the trackpad, though, because with the custom,
the
keyboard,
you can change the keyboard and numpad assignments.
I've never done it, but I know that I would assume, because they were never grayed out, that said you could delete them or whatever. I just want to be clear. So when we get to commanders, people will like, well, do I have to keep T for time and X for screenshot?
No, you can change that, but you can't do the trackpad.
I'd like to move on then, and I'd like to demonstrate another feature that we've been asked about a few times here. And I think I'd like to do multi-selection. So if we are in a folder and we have a number of files and maybe we want to select 3 or 4 of them, how do we do that? So I'm going to Command Tab to get back to my Finder.
Finder, desktop, empty group. You are current.
And in order to, there's a lot of ways we can do this, the menu bar, all sorts of things, but I happen to know the shortcut key for opening iCloud Drive, which is where I store the vast majority of my stuff. So I'm going to use the shortcut key, Command-Shift-I, to quickly open a Finder window with iCloud Drive.
Now in iCloud Drive window, icon view collection. You are currently on a collection. To begin interacting with the items in this list.
Okay, so we all know, we've learned that the Finder is the way that a Mac user will navigate through files and folders and, organize and do whatever else it is that they need to do. On the iPhone and iPad, we have the Files app, and this is sort of similar to that. I'm in iCloud Drive already, but let's interact with this icon collection so that I can go to a folder to demonstrate some things here.
Icon view, audio files, folder, attachments and photos, audio exchange, audio.
Okay, so you can hear this. It's sorting right now by what I've most recently accessed, not alphabetically. So there are ways to change that, but you can play around with this a little bit. But I will.
I was just about to say I wanted to make sure people knew that it doesn't have to be by most recent. You can sort of alphabetically. You can sort of Z to A. You can even have it where all your folders for people who are coming from Windows. I know a lot of people like to have all their folders on top. Yes.
Right.
So you can have it sort of that way. You can have, there's a whole lot of options in there. Maybe we'll go over it later, but this is the area where you might have to just explore and, see what you can find.
You have to go to view options. So
view options.
Command J, and then you have the ability to sort the folder and all that.
That's
stuff.
one of those things that I do so much. I forget that that's exactly how you get to it. But it's Command J to get to your view options, and you check and uncheck.
And there's a
pop up.
It's a drop down. Right. Yeah.
Yep. So you
all right. So Command J is the quick way to do that. Now I wonder if that is in the menu bar anywhere, also under view.
Yes, it is. It's under the view menu.
I'm about to say I don't use it like that, so I could. John,
it's under the view. Yeah, it's under the view menu, towards the bottom of the view menu.
I'm just going to go into this folder.
Audio files folder.
And again, I can double tap, or I can VO space.
Icon view collection. You are currently on icon.
Now we have to interact again.
1.m48 01-rider-gm.m05 I got 12. Thank you for 015 under
all these items.
05 I got it.
These are various audio files.
05 I got it. Filling.m48 May 24th. 2.
Okay. All of these are audio files. Now, what we'll do.
Page 3 of 12. Page 4. Page 5 of 12.
I just did my 3-finger swipe up to a few times to get a little further down here.
May 24th. Buzz.w. Confess4.mp3.
Okay. So let's suppose that I want to select a few of these files. So what we're going to do is we're going to select one here by just navigating left and right with the VO left or VO right, or our 1-finger swipe left and swipe right. And it automatically has selected that particular item.
Confess5.mp3, MP3 audio. Actions available.
Now, I'm going to press the
Confess5.mp3, added to selection.
VO and the return key. And now, if I press it again, just so you know.
Confess5.mp3, added to selection. Confess5.mp3, added to selection. Confess5.mp3, removed from selection.
Okay, I misspoke there. It's VO command return. So you hold down Control and Option or caps lock, and then you're going to add the command key and press return. And it actually toggles the selection of the current item. So we want to VO command return to select it again.
Confess5.mp3, added to selection.
Now let's VO right arrow.
Confess6.mp3, MP3 audio. Actions of Confess7.mp3, MP3 audio. Actions available. Confess7.mp3.
Let's select that
one.
Currently
Confess7.mp3, MP3 audio added to selection. 2 items selected.
So I did VO command return again to select that second item. Now let's see the next one.
Confess8.mp3, MP3 audio. Confessions1.m. Corona Apple MP. Correct answer Ballinger. Version 4. Correct answer .wav. Waveform audio.
Let's do that one.
Actions available. Correct answer .wav. Waveform audio added to selection. 3 items selected.
Okay. We now have 3 items selected. All we did was we did a VO command return to start the process. When we heard that the current item was selected, we then used our VO left, VO right, VO up, VO down, however we wanted to get to another file or folder. And if we did not want to select it, we just kept moving on. If we did, we pressed VO command return again. Let me demonstrate that one more time. I'll move through a few files and not select them.
DDVG, Wave, Elvis 22, GMT202, Graph Group, Apple MP4 Odd, Heal 2, Apple MP, Healing 8, Heal Official, Heart, Apple MP, HIT09.wav, Waveform Audio.
And let's select that.
HIT09, HIT09.wav, Waveform Audio, added to selection. 4 items selected.
So I've now got 4 items selected. Now I need to be very careful not to press anything I don't really intend to press, or I could end up deselecting all of these and undoing everything I've just done. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these to the clipboard with a Command C. It's going to deselect them once they're copied, but it's first going to copy them.
Copy 4 items.
I'm glad you said that because I have been doing certain things because, I edit audio and I clean up files anyway. One time I was in my contacts. I had like 400 and some odd contacts, and I probably only talked to 6 of y'all. But I was getting rid of all the students from the voiceover class one year, and I was going through and selecting them. And lo and behold, I forgot to push the Command C. It said items unselected. Oh, you don't know how mad I was. I had to walk away from my desk. That's how mad I was. So yes, please, after you have selected the items that you wanted, push Command C. I don't care if you have to push it twice. Just make sure you push it to make sure those items are selected. Otherwise, you're gonna have to start all the way over. Matt only has 4 items selected here, but if you're doing like I was doing, I mean, I was all the way up to like 125, and it said items deselected. Oh, I just had to walk away. So yes, please make sure you push Command C to copy those to the clipboard.
And remember, you also can do voiceover F6 at any time. If you're not sure, if you kind of forget what you selected, it will list everything that's currently highlighted.
So if I select multiple items and I change my mind, I don't want to copy them, I deliberately want to deselect them, what do I do then? And the answer, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, just press the escape key, right?
Yes, correct.
And that will
The escape
deselect
key,
everything.
or just Command Tab away from it.
Yeah, go to another window.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so that is how you multi-select. That is how you can select either contiguous or non-contiguous items. It doesn't matter. It becomes very, very easy once you've done it a few times. And I just to really drive some point home that we made earlier in the course, your VO command space for actions, because I heard one of these files say actions available. Well, I think they all say it.
Home 70, Apple MP4 audio. Actions available.
So that's VO command space.
Actions menu, 2 items.
And then
Open. Show menu. Menu, 15 items. Show menu, home 70.
VO down arrow, and then we VO spaced on that. So now we've got our whole menu.
Open with, download now, move to trash, get info.
Now, I think that's also one of those cases where VO Shift M would have automatically opened that context menu.
It's just another way.
Closing menu, home 86, Apple MP4. Menu, 15 items.
Yep, there it is. And I even think...
Closing menu.
Try one more thing.
Menu, 15 items.
Yep.
Closing menu.
Yep. You can even use the trackpad by simply holding down the control key and actually clicking the trackpad, which is a non-voiceover gesture typically, but that will bring up the context menu even with the trackpad commander on. Watch this.
Menu, 15 items. Open with, download now.
So that's another way to do it as well.
I think that's everything on selecting non-continuous items. And I mean, if you want to select, items that are all in the same folder, you can do command. It's the same as Windows.
Yeah,
except for we're using command instead of control. So it'll be command to select all, command C to copy them, command V to paste them, and you can actually push command option V to move them to folders. Right. And the last thing I was going to say is if there's like 12 things in a row and you want 4 or 5 of them in a row, you can just hold down the shift key, hit the down arrow till you get to the last one that you want, and then push command C, just like Windows. I hate to refer to it that way, but I know we got some people coming over from Windows, so I just want to make sure that you know that it's pretty much the same. It's just different labels of keys.
Well, now I'd like to change things up a little bit with a little tip of the day here, something that I think is really cool. Some of you may be exploring the calendar app. I really hope you are, in fact, because a lot of folks don't make use of the calendar, and it's such an awesome app. But one of the things that we always run into is people asking, well, what's an easy way for me to see just the events on my calendar and not actually see all the dates and hour by hour and everything like that? And of course, on iOS, we have a list view option. And on the iPad especially, I think it's on the iPhone as well, we have the events option in the rotor. So it makes it very easy to simply move from event to event. But on the Mac, there's a little trick that I want to teach you. So we're going to launch the calendar very quickly.
I'm going to say that we will not teach, or that won't be one of the segments of this Mac class, because there's already a recording that John did last spring and the calendar hasn't changed. So he did one last spring in his Mac for the Blind spring course number, whatever it is. Just look for the calendar. He does a great job of laying it out. And after you listen to that recording and we have some Q&A, then if you have more questions about the calendar, then we'll answer them. But that recording is already up on YouTube and the Mac for the Blind podcast.
So we heard this say February 2023. We can certainly interact and we can, have a more detailed view here.
In February 2000, today button, next month button, January 29th, March, January 20, next, today, previous month button.
I mean, this is all fine, but if I just want a list of my events, there's a little tidbit here. We're going to go over to the left.
Vertical split toolbar. Full screen, but toolbar, in tool, calendar, inbox, add event, day, rate, week, rate, month, year, rate, search text field, search. You are currently on a text field.
So I interacted with the toolbar until I found the search edit field. And since there really is no list selection here, what we want to do is we want to type in this search field, we want to type 2 quotes.
Quotation mark. Menu, 3 items.
And now what we're going to do, and I think I have to press the return key, I think.
Selected, closing menu.
We'll stop interacting.
Out of toolbar, vertical split, February 2023, month calendar area, group, verticals, search results. Search results. Today, Sunday, February 12th, 2023. Church, February 12th, Monday, February 13th, Grammarly Tips Session, Norman iOS Training, Tuesday, Thyroid Biopsy, TTJ Virtual Help Session, Valentine's Day, February Wednesday, Kindly Reading Competition Practice, Audio Workshop, Covenant Men, February.
You see how that works? So all we did was we went into that search field, we held down the shift and pressed apostrophe, we did it twice, that gives us the double quote, and all the events are now listed here. You interact with the search results, and you can literally just VO left and VO right arrow to every single event that is on your calendar. It's just going to move you event by event by event. This is not a voiceover tip. This is an everybody tip. This works regardless of whether you're using voiceover or not, and it's a great way to see the events on your calendar presented as a simple list. Okay, so there you go. Just a little tidbit for you on the calendar. We're going to move on to something that you won't run into every day, but on occasion you may need it, and that is drag and drop. Is there a way to drag items with voiceover and then drop them in a different location? And of course, the answer is yes. There's actually more than one way. You're going to learn depending on who you ask and what documentation you read. You're going to find there's multiple ways. The way that we're going to teach is certainly not the only way, but we have decided that we feel it is the most reliable way of any of the ways that we've used. And so that's what we're going to demonstrate for you.
Desk.
My favorite place to demonstrate drag and drop is in GarageBand, because I'm going to drag a song or a little sound clip onto a track. And that is my favorite way to do it. Now, it's been a long time since I've done this, so just going to give it a try. I'll open GarageBand.
No selection. In loops table, 12 bar blue space. Audio 16. Audio loop, 12 string dream 01. Software instrument loop. Drag to a software instrument track to use as a MIDI region, or drag to an audio track to use as an audio region.
What does that sound like? I just did VO space to play and pause that. In order to use this on our track, and you heard voiceover say it, we have to drag it to the track.
Right.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually use some voiceover commands to click down on it and click and hold, and then we're going to move it, and then we'll click up. We'll stop clicking. Now, the first thing that is recommended is to make sure that your mouse pointer is in sync with your voiceover cursor. And we probably could get away with not doing that, but I always like to do it just to be safe. So the command to do that is basically all the bottom keys on the left of the space bar. So your globe or function key, Control Option Command, and then the number 5 key, or the F5 if you have the function keys on your keyboard. But this is one that I know works with the trackpad, with the touch bar, by just using the number 5. So again, it's globe, VO command, and 5 or F5.
12 string dream 01 text.
Okay, and they are in sync. So now what we want to do is click down with VO Command Shift Space.
Mouse down on 12 string Dream 01, text 2 of 4.
Okay, the mouse is down. Anything we do is going to move that mouse pointer. So let's just move now. We're going to stop interacting. You're going to hear a little sound which indicates that the mouse pointer is moving every time. Sounds like a little, I don't know, a little piece of paper sliding or something.
Out of Apple Loops group. Smart Controls, Apple Tracks group. You are in Tracks group. Tracks Legend group. 4.1%. Tracks Time Ruler. Tracks Header group. You are in Tracks Header group. Track 1, Audio 1 group. In Track 1, Audio 1 group. Audio 1 text. Mute. Unchecked. Solo. Input monitoring plus 0.0 pan. 0 pan. Audio 1 text. Name field. Double click to rename the track. You are currently on a text field inside of a group. Out of Track 1, Audio 1 group.
I think I can just drop it right there. So what we're going to do is do that same command, VO Command Shift Space to click up.
Mouse up on Track 1, Audio 1 group.
Okay.
Out. 1 bar, 1 beat, 1 division, 1 tick.
And it
1 bar, 4 beats, 3 division.
It worked. We literally just dragged that loop to the audio track, and then we pressed the mouse up command, again, the VO Command Shift Space. And then I tested it by pressing the return key to go to the beginning of the song.
1 bar, 1 beat, 1 division, 1 tick.
And the space bar to play the song. And there you go. And you can, that's proof that it is not just playing it from the loop browser anymore, because it only, you heard before, it kept repeating and repeating or looping, but right now it's only in the song one time. Listen once more.
1 bar, 1 beat, 4 divisions, 126 ticks. 3 bars,
Okay.
2 beats, 1 division, 200.
And there you go. So that's how easy it is to drag content from one place to another on your Mac with VoiceOver.
And that's not the only place that it can be done. I mean, it can be GarageBand is just one of the examples, but unless you use unless you use an app called Walter Pro, that's actually the way that you get ringtones onto your phone with your Mac now. You have to have the Finder open along with your device in another window of Finder. I'm not going to try to confuse anybody, but the bottom line is you have to pick it up and drag it from one Finder window to the other, which would be your device, and drop it right on the section where ringtones would be and drop it. That gets a bit tedious. I've never figured out how to do it one or more than one ringtone at a time. That's why I use, again, this app called Walter Pro. I'm going to go over some key commands. I'm going to have Trainer Matt do them so you can hear what they do. So Command Shift H.
Home. Now in Matt Fulbrecht window. Icon view collection.
Now you heard VoiceOver say home, and that's exactly where he's at. If he interacts and goes up and down that table, it's probably going to be his documents, music, movies, TV shows is actually in the movies folder now. And anything else like Dropbox or OneDrive, if he had them installed. I know Matt, so I know he doesn't, but that's where those things will be housed. Let's do Command Shift C.
Icon view collection.
All right,
you are currently on a collection.
It said icon
to begin
view. What this is actually your computer section of your Mac. So any hard drives, external drives, your if you have a server, your Macintosh HD, all that will be in this list. And
Macintosh HD volume, network, image,
and his network
Macintosh
and all
HD.
that is there. So, man, Matt's using column view. It doesn't really matter because it's all gonna do the same. So,
and if you want to see, like, this is a great way to see how much, there are other ways, but this is a great way to see how much storage you have left on your hard drive. If you
Macintosh HD
want to check, you can now press Command I here.
Macintosh HD image. Modify December tag editor add tag general kind vol created December 2nd modified December version 13.1 format apps format capacity 494.38 gigabytes available 327.61 gigabytes 8.96 gigabyte purgeable available.
Next we're gonna go Command. Is that Control? No, it's Option. Do Command Option L.
Oh yes.
List view table, no selection. You are currently on a table.
It didn't say what it is, but that's actually your downloads folder. That's how you get directly to your downloads folder. Again, that's Command Option L. All right, let's try Command Shift and the letter O as an Oscar.
List view table, no selection. You are currently on a table.
That takes you to your documents folder, whether you store them in iCloud or you have them housed in your home folder on your Mac. That's always going to take you to your documents folder. These are just some quick tidbits to get you familiar with using the keyboard. I mean, if you like the trackpad and you like iOS, then hey, more power to you. I'm just trying to give you another option. Command Shift A, that takes you to the applications folder. What else can I think of? I think them are the basics, though. I mean, if there's any others that you can think of.
Command Shift A is applications. Command Shift I is iCloud Drive. And I think, is Command Shift R still AirDrop?
Let's find out. It sure is. Command Shift R is AirDrop.
Okay.
And then you also have Command Shift K for network, but that's just if you have a server and you want to connect directly to it to do some sharing of APFS files with somebody. But I mean, that's for the advanced user, but it's there.
Right. And again, just to point out, as Kliph said, these are shortcut ways of doing things. If you want to know where this is actually coming from, like these things we just went to, they're all in the menu bar under the Go menu.
Menu bar, Apple, Finder, File, Edit, View, Go.
We open the Go menu.
Go menu, 19 items. Back command, left bracket. Forward, dim command, right bracket. And closing folder, recent Command Shift, Documents Command Shift O. Desktop Command Shift D. Downloads Command Option L. Home Command Shift H. Library. Computer Command Shift C. AirDrop Command Shift R. Network Command Shift K. iCloud Drive Command Shift I. Shared Command Shift S. Applications Command Shift A. Utilities Command Shift U. Recent folders, submenu.
So all those things that we just demonstrated with keyboard commands, they're all there in the Go menu as well.
Closing menu.
And now remember, that's only when you're in the Finder, because if you're in Mail, if you're in Messages, if you're in any other application, that Go menu is probably not going to appear. Number one, it's probably going to turn into the View menu, and that's going to teach you how to view or navigate the particular app that you're in at the current time.
And also, those keyboard commands will do different things, or possibly nothing at all, but they won't have the same. In other words, if you're in the, we just heard Command Shift D for desktop, but if we were inside of an app or something like that, those keyboard commands won't do the same thing.
And Command N in any app, I don't care where you are, it'll always open up a new something. If you're in Finder, it's a new window. If you're in Messages, it's a new message. If you're in Mail, it's a new email. If you're in, I don't even know, Keynote, it's a new presentation. If you're in Pages, it's a new document. It's Command Shift N. It always creates a folder, except when you're in Mail. That's the only place it won't do that. In Mail, Command Shift N is going to fetch all your new mail that hasn't come down yet. But anywhere else, it's going to create a new folder anywhere in Finder.
Command N is basically always your new or create command, and then Command O is often the open command too.
Right. Because you can use Command O to open apps, or you can do VO space bar, whatever your preference is. I think Command O works more frequently in the column view, which John is going to show us in the next live session on February 16th at 2 Eastern, 1 Central. If there's any questions that we didn't cover in something that we talked about today, or there's an app that we haven't covered yet that you don't know if we're going to cover, feel free to send us an email, support@stiritup.com. And remember, that's STURITUP. And is it info?
Either info or support. They can use either one.
So info or support at TTJTech.biz. That's Tango Juliet. T is in Tom. E, C is in cat. H is in house. .biz. B-I-Z. So for Trainer Matt, this is Trainer Kliph for More with the Mac, coming in your radio speakers.